Converted man here. Evidence for God so you don't feel crazy. I don't know. If you feel crazy, you might want to get some mental help, perhaps. But why would you feel crazy for believing in God? Oh, because there isn't evidence, right? So you need to be told about the evidence, because the evidence is something that you can't just find on your own. You need to be told about it. Anyways, good old cold crease Christianity with Jay Warner, whatever, and his whole shtick is, hey, I was a forensic person, blah blah blah, and I'm just gonna do griefs, whatever, grift on that, and yeah. Anyway, so here we go. Yeah, this is gonna be great. Here we go.
Is there really no evidence for God's existence?
Is there really no evidence for God's existence? Yes, there really is no evidence. Yeah, that I had to think, because it's like, is there really not no? You know what I'm saying? It's like one of those. But yeah, no. Yes is the answer. Thanks for asking.
I think in a world in which people are most persuaded by scientific quote unquote claims, right?
Scientific quote unquote? What do you mean quote unquote? Like, if it's look, either it's scientific evidence or it's not. In which case you don't need the quotes, because then you would call it pseudoscience. Oh well.
Right? I mean, science is the arbiter of all truth in a culture we're living today.
And he looks mad.
I hear this all the time. Well,
why does he look so mad about that? Science is the truth of arbiter. Oh man, I don't like that at all. Yeah, well, too bad, baby. That's how it is.
You cannot prove God's existence with evidence. Is that true?
Yes.
Is there no evidence for the existence of God?
Correct.
Well, I learned one thing working criminal trials. There's only two forms of evidence, right? There's direct evidence and indirect evidence. That's it.
Okay, so now he made a claim just then. He said, working criminal trials, there's only two forms of evidence. If you've seen the links on my description, you'll know where this is going. Here we go. Oh, it's so good. Oh, man. Oh, it's just so good. It's so good. I love it. It's so... 26 types of evidence used in criminal trials. What was that you said? You said something about there being two? I don't know. Seems like there's 26. What kind of evidence is there? Admissible evidence. Inadmissible evidence. Real/physical evidence. Individual physical evidence. Class physical evidence. Documentary evidence. Demonstrative evidence. Testimonial evidence, which he includes in his video. Digital evidence. Direct evidence, which he includes in his video. So 2 out of these the included. Circumstantial evidence. Statistical evidence. Presumptive evidence. And so, okay, it keeps going. All right. There's 26. All right. Now, wait. Now, that's one web page. Now, that's just... I got more web pages. 20 types of evidences you'll see in a legal career. 20 different types. So, yeah, there's 20 different types. Direct evidence, circumstantial, physical, and blah, 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 blah. You know, okay, so that's another website. Okay, so, okay, wait. There's more. Yeah, here's 21 different types of evidence and how they affect a case. Pretty much the same list as before, prima facie evidence. Ooh, we're getting fancy now. Words I can't possibly hope to pronounce. Pronounce? I can't pronounce that word. Prima, whatever.
Prima facie.
Yeah, that. Prima facie. Thanks, voice in the background, disembodied voice in the background. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's funnier that I don't know how to say it. Anyways, wait, we're not done yet. 4 types of evidence. Okay, we're getting smaller in the types of evidence, but these are real evidence, testimonial statements, demonstrable and documentary. So they still categorize it. Now that's just criminal evidence. I wanted to say, well, what about scientific evidence within the court of law? So here you go. Here's the thing about that. Forensic evidence, including DNA, fingerprints, hair or fiber, is considered scientific evidence before jurors and judges who typically do not have the knowledge and experience to understand methods used to develop a forensic evidence. Scientific evidence may include ballistics or changes to guns or other firearms, bullets from those weapons, blah blah blah. So that's it's clarifying that that's like considered, I guess, a different sort of type of evidence. And then just for fun, because I can, non-related to courtroom, because who cares what you do in the courtroom, since ID lost its case in the courtroom, Erie versus Miller and all that. Anyways, here's types of scientific evidence. That's a whole lot. That's more than 2. And then just for funsies, one more thing. There you go. So there you go. More types of scientific evidence. So yeah. You're wrong. There's more than 2. You lied. And we could end the video there. Really, I mean, we could. He's wrong. He's just wrong. He's wrong. There's more than 2. I demonstrated that he's wrong. And maybe he'll be like, but if you narrow it down, it's only 2 types. No, because you don't narrow it down. You don't. No one does that unless you're lazy or doing apologetics. Then you do it, because then you make the argument seem like a dichotomy. Very simple, easy to understand, instead of complex and nuanced, the way that real trials are done. But here's the thing. He's going to go waffle off about witnesses and testimonial evidence but he's got to know that's the worst type of evidence. If he ever did any criminal trial ever, he would know that. He'd have to know that, right? And again, I got to press on this because he never brings it up. If he had a person that he was interviewing, because lawyers want to talk to the witnesses before they ask them questions. They want to know what the answers. They never ask a question they don't know the answer to. That's like a big rule, right? So if you knew that the witness was going to say, and then the man flew off into the distance like Superman, and they're like, wait, without a plane or a helicopter or like any device, jetpack? No, they flew up into the sky like Superman. Like they did, like it was magical. It was amazing. Like you knew that they were going to say that. And this witness was like really important to your case. You'd be like, look, you can't say that. You can't say that part. And why? Well, because like, it would be, all the jurors would be like, well, that guy's crazy. The other person would be like, let's strike that from the record. Like they're crazy, whatever, it caused problems in the trial, right? You wouldn't want a witness to say, hey, yeah, and then he turned water into wine. What? You want to, and then he killed the guy, but before the cops showed up, the guy came back to life. He was fine. He stood up, he walked around, he said, okay, everybody, I'm good. And he ran out. He ran out the door, but he was alive when he did it, so he's not technically dead. So he can't be charged for murder. Maybe he can be charged for shooting the guy, but he can't be charged for murder. The body is missing. So obviously the body is missing. There's no other explanation than the guy got up after he was shot and ran away. There's no possible way that it could be anything else. I saw the man do that. And the other guy that shot the guy's like, yeah, me too. I saw the guy do that too. Now you've got 2 eyewitnesses that say that happened. Do you think that would be it? Case closed? Or do you think that might be tossed out of the courtroom? I'm just wondering. Anyways.
That's every form of evidence that we use when making a case in front of a jury.
It's not. And I don't know why you're talking about a jury, because you would lose. If you, I would love to. I just want this guy to put his money where his mouth is. I'll do it because I don't need to know anything about being a lawyer. You be the one defending God, I guess, and the thing will be God is guilty of existing, which means you have to prove the case, right? Or whatever. And I'll just be like, God is not guilty of existing, so he doesn't exist, right? Like, it'll be so simple because you won't just produce God. The trial will be over. You can't do it, so that'd be it. That'd be the end of that's it. But you couldn't actually have a real trial like that because you can't sue God. And people have tried. And when people try, one of two things happen. Either the court throws it out, or the court accepts the case. I did not know this. This is actually funny. And says, yeah, you win. And that's it. And you go, well, you can't collect on it because God owes you money or whatever the deal is. Like, yeah, sure, you win. You won against God. Now what? so so that's it, and I guess they accept cases every now and then because like you have to pay court fees and stuff, so they kind of like it's kind of a punishment on you to go through all that, and like, okay, you won, yay, like collecting from God. But yeah, so you couldn't, but if you had a fake mock trial, you'd still lose because your arguments suck anyways.
Direct and indirect evidence. Now, direct evidence is of one kind. It is eyewitness testimony.
Wrong. That is not the one kind of evidence, as I showed with all those websites. So he's lying again.
If it's not an eyewitness who can tell you what happened, who did it, it can describe the entire event for you, then you can't use direct evidence.
Wrong, because DNA is considered direct evidence. Now watch as he lies about what DNA is, because he calls DNA indirect evidence. He does. I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. Cons are broken slot machines. They never pay out. Yeah. Anyways, you mean a working slot machine because that's how they work too.
Now, indirect evidence is everything else. In cases like mine, DNA evidence, that's indirect.
Lie.
Fingerprints, indirect evidence.
Lie.
Behaviors people observed, indirect statement.
Behaviors people observe. Okay. But you just said eyewitness testimony is direct evidence. If I observed your behavior, then that is direct evidence, according to you. But it's also indirect evidence? How does that work?
He made indirect evidence. Unless it's an eyewitness who can tell you what happened, everything else is indirect evidence.
That's just not true at all. And we already showed that that's not the case. So you're just lying, man. You're just lying. Eyewitness is not direct evidence. Is eyewitness testimony direct evidence or circumstantial? Let's see. Direct evidence is evidence that, if believed, directly proves a fact. Usually in criminal case, direct evidence will be eyewitness testimony regarding something that was actually observed. Okay, yeah. But if it's believed, let's see. But it's such as testimony by a witness, or let's see, what's circumstantial evidence? I'm just seeing if he's at all correct at all, because he didn't bother putting any links to show that he would be correct. No, that doesn't seem to help him. Let's see. Direct evidence is that which speaks for itself. Eyewitness accounts, a confession, or a weapon. So a weapon would also be direct evidence. Let me just show that on the screen. I don't know if I'll put that as a link or not. I don't know, maybe. So see how it says eyewitness account, so you got that right. A confession or a weapon. So a weapon, see, he categorized a weapon as everything else, right? So so I'm like, let's just go to the thing. Let's just comment here, uh, and then that's from like this bar association. I think that they know what they're talking about, and be like, hey man, hey, okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete my other jaded comment because I'd rather have this comment show up. He'll delete it anyways, but whatever. Yeah, all right, delete, come on, delete. All right. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, is American Bar Association wrong about a weapon being direct evidence there, buddy? Or are you right about this? I'm just wondering. The American Bar Association says uh, a weapon can be direct evidence, but you say that would be indirect evidence, right? So who's right? Who am I gonna believe? Them or you? I don't know. Just saying. You're wrong. Okay. Back to this liar. Or either he's lying or he's just wrong. Either way, it don't matter. His argument sucks, so it doesn't matter. All right.
By the way, there's no such category as hard evidence, so please stop saying that. We don't have.
There's no such category as hard evidence. Is there such a category as hard evidence in court? Let's see. Let's see. What does hard evidence is a physical term? For example, video proof, a fingerprint, a shot residue. Oh man, but that's from Cora. Hmm. Circumstantial, real, and demonstrative evidence. Let's see. Let's see. If he could show that this was true, that'd be great. Um, well, look at what I found. I don't know. Just saying. I found another thing. I guess I got to put this in the thing here. Now, maybe they're wrong. Oh, wait, that's what I showed before. Sorry. Wrong one. Wrong one. Wrong one. Here's from Google. Okay. This includes hard evidence such as DNA, fingerprints, blood test results, crime scene evidence, weapons, and things of that nature. But it also includes things as testimony. So, evidence in a criminal case by Giles Law. Okay. What is evidence? If you hire a criminal defense lawyer, that person will tell you that evidence in a criminal case is anything brought forward to help prove the government's case or to help advocate for the side of the defense. This includes hard evidence such as DNA. They use the word hard evidence. So is Gales do law, are they wrong by saying hard evidence? I'm going to ask that question. Says, uh, you know, um, you know, this, and we'll just copy that. We'll paste it. Are they wrong? you know so I'm just gonna keep asking him about these counter examples to see if he can refute them, because I mean obviously they'd have to be wrong if he's saying that the opposite. See, I wrote that in the comment there. I said, hey, this people said that. Are they wrong then? Because you said the opposite thing. So I'm just wondering who's wrong here. Who am I gonna believe? This law firm or you? I don't know.
Have hard evidence and soft evidence. There's direct evidence and indirect evidence. Now, could we make a case for God's existence from direct and indirect evidence?
Nope.
I think you could. Direct evidence might include, for example, eyewitness accounts, even if they're written.
All right, so here we go. See, I knew you'd do this, Chick. But again, in a trial, eyewitness testimony is either believed or not, and it can be tossed out, and also can be considered as not direct evidence under certain circumstances. So, if you had, how many people would you have to have stand up and give testimony to seeing, I don't know, aliens for that to be real? Like, I could, we could probably round up about 100 people to testify under oath that they saw gray aliens, the grays, right? We could do that. Maybe we'd have to coach, convince them with money or something. I don't know, but maybe they do it for free. It doesn't matter. My point is, I could get how many people could we get to testify that the lobsterist is actually legitimate? Again, don't know, but more than one. So just because somebody says something, don't make it true. That's problem one. Problem two is, if somebody took the stand in an actual courtroom and said that magic was real, or that they saw something supernatural, or they saw aliens or whatever, would that person be considered a reliable eyewitness? Yes or no? And the answer is going to be no. Like, I would think. So, yeah, I think that he's got a problem there. But yeah, the Gospels aren't eyewitness testimony at all, because they're not written by the people that saw the stuff. But even if you say, well, somebody else copied what they wrote, but we don't know that that's the case either. So that would be, what is it called when somebody copies something that someone else wrote that they copied from somebody else? What would that be called in a criminal case there, lawyer? So if I present you a document that's actually a copy of a copy of a copy of the thing that says whatever the bleep the thing said in the first place, is that eyewitness testimony? Well, no, it's not. You know that it wouldn't be. So you're just lying again. Ah, man.
Written down over a period of time. We have 4 Gospels that provide us with direct evidence, eyewitness accounts, and we can test those. But that's one way to determine, and by the way, if there's a person historically who rose from the grave with the power of God, and you have an eyewitness account that chronicles that, and if you test the eyewitness account and it passes all with flying colors, why would you not consider that to be sufficient evidence?
Well, how would we test it? But it's not eyewitness. Again, we know that from actual, history. The earliest surviving documents of the New Testament are maybe like 60 years after the event. I think is the earliest. Offhand, I'm not going to look it up. I don't care anymore. So, yeah, yeah, and then Yin Yang, he's been doing evidence. Well, he said there's 2 types of evidence, Yin Yang. So is he right about there being only 2 types of evidence? But I mean, if it was copied of a copy, would it be considered eyewitness evidence, or just evidence of a different type? See, right? Yeah. 40-ish years. Yeah, 40 years. Okay. Yeah. But now, some people make a big deal out of the time gap, I don't. I don't make that big of a deal of the time gap of 40 years. I mean, that's because the Mormon faith exists. I don't need a time gap. The Mormons pretty much, I mean, Joseph Smith was believed, you know, pretty much, not immediately, but very quickly he was believed by different people that he told the story to. I got his wife to go along with it, got Oliver Cowdery to join in, by convincing him of different things, and then got other people to join in. And once you had enough people who all agreed that it was true, that was enough to convince other people that it could be true. And then you get the ball rolling, and that's how you make a religion. It's more a cult. It's really not that hard. I mean, well, I guess it's a little bit difficult because you have to be deceptive and you have to be perhaps a little bit charismatic, or at least able to fool people, or whatever. But nonetheless, so those people, if they testified, they'd be eyewitnesses to Joseph Smith's thing. No, because they didn't see the golden plates. Only he did. But could they testify about him being amazing and doing things? Sure, they could. Are those things reliable? No, they're not. And when you look at the Gospels, well, they've undergone revision multiple times. We know that. And you could say, well, it's minor revision. Well, but yeah, that's still important in a court of law. That would make or break a case that it has multiple revisions. Are you kidding me? And then, of course, the mythological elements, the supernatural elements, just wouldn't fly in a court of law.
To believe that God exists. But if that's not the way you want to go, and you want to go with indirect evidence, well, if we're in a universe where all space, time, and matter leapt into existence from nothing, that universe.
Okay, so yes, once again, we have the wrong-headed cosmological argument that asserts that the universe began. And last time I posted a video that said, well, no, that don't seem to be the case. It could very well be that the universe did not, in fact, have any sort of beginning at all. And there were several scientists that were like, yeah, no, that's not, that's not a thing. And let me get the link. Okay, I'm gonna get the link for that for this video too, and we'll put that in chat. So remember to put it in the video description later. I'm also gonna put this thing in the video description later. And I'm gonna put this thing in the video description later. Oh my goodness, he's just making me do so much work. Oh, by the way, in case you're wondering how many links he has under his video, well, they're all to, like, here's his book, here's his book, and his book, and his book, and his book. So so that's it. He doesn't provide anything that indicates the universe began. So no to that, and no to all the illogical things that come with the cosmological argument. So you got nothing there.
The result, it appears to be fine-tuned to a razor's edge for the existence of life.
Nope, it doesn't. Life is fine-tuned for the parameters of the universe, not the other way around. You got to ask backwards, but that's typical of the fine-tuning argument proponents. But even if you said fine, okay, life is fine-tuned, whatever, okay, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything at all. It's irreducible complexity reduxed. That's all that is.
Not only that, life emerges from non-life in a way that is still yet, no one can explain that even now.
Oh, so an appeal to personal incredulity / an appeal to ignorance. We don't understand it. Yeah? And what's your argument? Oh, you don't have any. So the moment we do understand it, then what? Oh, right. Got the gaps.
There are origin of life studies that still cannot explain how life emerges from non-life. And when it does emerge, it has a very commonly held observation that biology displays at least the signs of design, the attributes of the appearance.
Yeah, and the design argument, as you should know, has lost in court. That lost again. Didn't you? You know that, right? Like ID lost in a court case. You know, uh, let's see, what was it? I just saw this whole thing called Judgment Day: Intelligent Design on Trial. Great documentary by Nova. Really cool stuff. It's on YouTube. I'll put that in the description, I guess. Whatever. Oopsie. Didn't mean to do that.
Versus
Yeah.
Dover.
Yeah, Kitzmiller versus Dover. Yeah, thank you. I was gonna look up the damn name, but whatever. Okay, anyways. All right. And once again, disembodied voice comes in on the clutch. Yeah. So the design argument has failed already in a court of law. So that's nothing. Keep going though.
Of design, but also we're in a universe in which we have minds that act freely. We are in a universe that has objective, transcendent moral truths. We are.
Do we have minds that act freely? I don't know about that. Let's see. Now that one's going to require a bit of digging on my where guy had brain to win. What? Anyways, okay, I'll come back to that later. But yeah, this is just whatever, man. You got, and then you're just asserting moral thing, whatever. You haven't demonstrated that that's even a thing yet, so that argument sucks.
In a universe in which we sense the presence of evil or the existence of evil, and we have to have some type of high moral standard of righteousness to even detect such a thing. Look, these are indirect attributes of the universe that we could make a case. We could use these as evidence to make a case for the existence of God. Because it turns out that if there is a God, he is the best explanation for those attributes of the universe. And that's all we're trying to do in a crime scene, right?
But you don't have those attributes in the universe. So what would be the case, assuming that you're wrong, which you are, how would you then go and explain the fact that you're wrong to us? What things could potentially explain why you or anyone else would be wrong given a godless universe? How is it that humans think that there is a God when in fact there isn't? So as a lawyer, I would expect you to be able to make the other side, right? You should be able to steel man the other side, right? I would expect you to be able to do that. I don't think this guy can do it because he's yeah, the case is presented by the prosecutor, not the detective. Well, apparently he worked with the law. I don't know, man. He's got a backstory. I haven't looked into that deep, but he's got the typical shtick of I've done this stuff. I've done murder trials. I know what I'm talking about. Right? Yeah. How do we sense evil? I don't know. Yeah. I mean, that reminds me. Somebody. Quite some time ago had said like they would know if like there was white supremacists in a bar or whatever, like they'd just be able to identify them or something. And I'm like, how could you do that? Yeah, I don't know how they could do that. They never told me how they had that power. Just saying. Don't know how they did that. It's such a inside meme that nobody will know what the hell I'm talking about except for him. Anyways, no, it's okay. Sometimes we think that we can see things or detect things and we can't. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's not to dig at people, not to irritate people and make people mad or whatever, but sometimes all humans do this. I've done this too, where I think I know that this dude's lying. Like, do I know this guy is lying? Well, no, I don't know. I strongly suspect he's lying, but I certainly do know that he's mistaken. So, yeah. Anyways, whatever.
Is figure out which suspect will best explain the evidence in our crime scene. It turns out that you can make a case for God from both the direct and indirect evidence.
Well, I don't know that you could, but it'd be thrown out. So you could try. I don't even know. Like I said, if we had a mock trial, I don't even know. Would it even make it to the mock trial, or would it be tossed out? Like, look, we can't even do a mock trial about this, you know? I feel bad about the things I said earlier directed at. I feel bad about what I said earlier. I'm sure it's fine. He's fine. He's fine. He's not going to be mad at me. Maybe he is. I don't know. I regret everything. Go back to the video.
Let me give you another way of thinking about this. What kind of evidence would even suffice? What are we really looking for here?
Empirical evidence, repeatable tests. There you go. That's what we're looking for. We ain't got that. All you got is a story. That's it. That's what you got. Bunch of people. So you know, that's it. That's what we got.
I always ask that question because if what they want, if what they need is for God to come right now and act miraculously in this moment and write their name in the stars or write their name on the side of the mountain, well, I can't make that happen for you. So
yeah, that would be pretty darn convincing. But it wouldn't be enough for me. Because if I see it, that's not enough. I'd have to have everybody else be able to see it too. That way I can be like, did you see that? And write down and verify, yeah, I see that. Yeah, I see that. Everyone else sees it too. So I know I'm not just tripping out or something, you know?
I don't think we can have a productive conversation if that's the kind of evidence you need. But
no, you can have a productive conversation. Say, well, I don't have that and I can't make that happen. And go, yeah, right. So you don't have what I want. That's it. And you go, well, you're right. I don't. Bye. Right? Because you leave. Because you give up. Because you ain't got that. Or maybe you can have a productive conversation if you're willing to try to understand, well, why is it that you need that? Like, I don't have that. Why is it that I don't have that? Why is it that that doesn't happen? Maybe I need to question my beliefs. I don't know. Just an idea. Still feel bad about it. He's coming at me. Sorry, Snuffy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I think we could look at attributes of the universe and ask specific questions and see if the best inference is not a what as a cause, but a who. So for example, as I look at the information in DNA, and I see how those nucleotides are arranged in that longest molecule known to humans, DNA, and I see that that information, those nucleotides are arranged in a code that is informative, that is information. And I realize from all my past experiences anywhere, that information always comes from the mind of an intelligent being. Why would I not then look for a who to explain the information in DNA? Let me put it to you this way. If I walked into a crime scene and there was a struggle in this crime scene and the suspect killed the victim here, and sure enough, there is blood spatter on the wall where the murder occurred. That spatter pattern I can attribute to the physics of blood and gravity and action that caused the blood spatter on the wall.
All right, so I stopped listening at some point. Oh, here's the problem though. Okay. Yeah, you could attribute all that blood splatter to physics, but what if actually it was a miracle? Like, yeah, you find the dead body, and you find a person that's sitting there in a chair with a gun barrel that's still smoking. Everything leads you to conclude that that person shot them, but they said no, it was a miracle. What happened was a miracle. See, I was gonna shoot them, but I decided not to. But then the gun went off on its own, and they flew across the room and hit the wall. And look at all that blood splatter. That wouldn't happen from just one bullet. In fact, even though the gun is smoking, I don't think I actually fired. Look, all the bullets are still here. They look here, all the bullets are still there. Oh, lo and behold. Oh, that's why is the gun smoking? It stops smoking. And then the gun just disappears in front of everybody's eyes. And then the man disappears. And they go, what happened to the person that we think shot the guy? And then the body disappears, leaving behind only the blood stain on the wall. It's a miracle! Well, then what? How do you, you're done. You go, well, that we thought there was a murder, but it turns out it was just a miracle. We can't explain that. The investigation's over. Now, we're going to want to document it. Who's going to believe the poor cops that saw all that happen if they didn't record it on video, you know? So there's a problem, right? Once you introduce magic into the equation, if there's a God, and there's angels, and there's demons and devils, and they can do stuff, well, then what is to stop a interference by the divine, whether it's good or bad, like the devils or demons can do stuff, apparently, you know, why can't they make it look like a murder scene when it actually isn't? What's to stop them from magically interfering with our mundane lives? What's to stop the angels from magically interfering with our mundane lives? What's to stop God from interfering in our mundane lives? And you say, well, but God doesn't do that. Well, then prayer doesn't do anything. You can't ever pray for God to do a thing, because if it did do a thing, that would interfere with your life and the life of others. So either God can't do anything, or it can intervene. And if it can intervene, then there's no reason to rely on physics, because physics might be suspended because God felt like doing it. That's a problem. Anyways, just saying, you know.
I could explain that with nothing more than physics. But if I walked into the same room and instead of there being blood spatter on the wall, there was written in this victim's blood, he deserved it, on the wall. Now I'm not looking for a what. It's not physics that caused that. I'm looking for a who, because that information and that sequence of code we call language, right? The English language, if it's written in English, that has to come not from physics, but from a mind.
But if you then looked up and saw that a piece of the roof had fallen down, and it had fallen through a bunch of light fixtures that made it so that only parts of the roof could fall down and other parts remained suspended, and that each part of the roof fell down in such a way that they would land on the blood splatter, shaping it into what you might think are letters. Then, whoops, it's not actually a person that did it. It's actually that there was a filtering mechanism that allowed for chance to make it look like something that a person would normally do. Could that happen under the right conditions? Sure. Unlikely, perhaps, but not impossible. Now, you would have to have a further mechanism of which, you know, the thing that fell down also disappeared afterwards to make it even more interesting. But nonetheless, given your analogy, yes, you could find things that would indicate that it's not actually from a person and instead is from the physical environment, depending on what sort of physical environment you have. But we got to ignore all that because you want to assert a who rather than a what, which is an unwarranted conclusion based on the fact that none of the things that you've presented are even evidence or facts in the first place. In fact, nothing that you've said has been actually true throughout the video, and I've demonstrated that with all the links that I've provided already.
We are seeing information in DNA, and we know by practical experience it always comes from mind. Why would we not look for a who in explaining DNA? By the way,
because it's an unwarranted assertion. DNA isn't the sort of thing that you think it is. But you don't understand science, or you're lying, whichever it is. I'm not sure. But regardless, you're wrong. DNA evidence is akin to, gotta go back to the damn dunes again. Dunes. Okay, sand dunes. Sand dunes provide information. If you had a big enough record player, you could put sand on it. You can put the sand dunes on it. You could play the sand dunes as if they're a record. And the the bumps would make sound. Wouldn't make very good sound, but it'd make sound. That's information, okay? DNA has that type of information. And it only appears designed because it's gone through a long process to get there. And what you'll find if you actually look into DNA is that there's unnecessary additional information that isn't needed or used. Why would that be there? See, the thing is, when we humans design something, we go with the most efficient design possible. Less complexity over more, because the less complex it is, the less things that there are to go wrong. You wouldn't want a computer that has an alarm clock that sometimes goes off every 5 minutes, but not always. And the alarm clock is just part of the computer, and it has to sometimes go off or the computer stops working. And you don't want it to go, but you don't want that kind of computer because it's a completely useless thing that you don't want. It's absolutely pointless to have it and to have it be tied into the computer system. Who would design that? That's a bad designer. So you're either left with a bad designer, or the fact is that there wasn't a designer that's already been lost in a court case. Or the thing that started all of it has done it in such a way that DNA and RNA and all those things came about via natural evolutionary processes, which looks completely unguided and undesigned to those of us who have looked at the actual science. I don't know why God would do that, but if God did it that way, great. But you're going to have to drop the whole argument of DNA proving God to be honest and consistent. You're not going to do that, but if you wanted to be honest and consistent, you would drop the argument of DNA being intelligently anything. That already failed in a court of law. Again, just saying.
A very famous atheist named Antony Flew, one of the most famous atheists of the last century, before he died, moved from atheism to at least deism or theism on the basis of one thing: information in DNA. Even Antony Flew decided at some point it was not reasonable to answer that, to look for a cause that was a what.
Okay, so you got one guy that is on your side. One dude. Was he a scientist? Let's see. Well, it says he was a philosopher. I don't know. Maybe it's a different Antony Flew. I don't know. Could be wrong. Since he didn't, give us what Antony Flew he's talking about, I'm just going to assume that he means this guy. Here we go. Let's see. Antony Flew. Let's see. English philosopher. Oh, he said he was an atheist. Didn't he say he was an atheist scientist? Wait, let's go back a bit. Okay, he didn't make the claim that he was a scientist, but yeah, no, he was an English philosopher. And did he convert before he died? I don't know. Who cares? This has nothing to do with anything. That's one example. One. What about all the other atheists that are like, nope, we reject that? Let's ignore that. Cherry picking? Yeah, sure. Let's just do that. Let's do that. Let's cherry pick stuff. I'm sure that would stand up in court. Yeah.
He knew the only cause that could cause information in DNA was a who. So yes, you actually can use the world around us and evidence in the world around us to infer that the most reasonable explanation for that evidence is the existence of God.
Nope. Actually, you can't, unless you completely disregard all the counterfactual evidence that shows you're wrong in full. Okay, so this guy was what? He died April 2010. Antony Flew. So, I mean, yeah, he lived a while. Yeah. 1923. Oh wait, here we go. Let's see. Oh look, I found a thing on Wikipedia. Now maybe we can't trust Wikipedia. Fair enough. Fair enough. Maybe. But let's see. Where's the thing? Let's see. Okay, several occasions, rumors circulated claiming that Flew converted from atheism to deism. Flew denied the rumors on secular websites. Oh, interesting. So he denied those rumors. Here's a citation for that. Let's see. Oh, okay. So here's here's that. Let's look at that. Let's just look at the direct thing there. Let's get that up. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Sorry to disappoint. That might make me slow, but I'm still an atheist. It no longer represents Flew's current position. See, Antony Flew considers God, sort of. Okay, let me click on that. All right, by Richard Carrier. Hey, I know that name. Considering there might be a God, sort of. He's renowned atheist, blah, blah, blah. So, let's see. A rumor hit the internet that he converted to Christianity. That was a myth. He wrote, sorry to disappoint, I'm still atheist. So, yeah, let's see. Interview which Flew appears to depart from his past views. A letter he wrote to a popular philosophy journal expressing doubts on his ability to science to explain the origin of life. Okay. Let's see. And then J.P. Moreland used his conversion, quote unquote, as an argument for supernaturalism. Seems that Flew still hasn't decided what to believe. He affirms he's not a Christian. He's still quite certain that the gods of Christianity or Islam do not exist, that there's no revealed religion and definitely no afterlife of any kind. He still stands by everything he argued for in his book, Merely Mortal Can Survive Your Own Death. But he's persuaded that some sort of deity brought about this universe. No, it doesn't interfere with human affairs, nor does it provide any postmodern, whatever, no afterlife. He says he has in mind something like the god of Aristotle, a distant and personal prime mover. It might not even be a consciousness, but a mere force. That's as far away from deist as you can get, by the way. At that point, you're not even deist. I mean, if it's a mere force, then you don't even need to call it God. It's a hypothesis, yeah, blah blah blah. There's a another claim. So is there anything that shows that he actually did convert to theism? Wait, update. He quoted directly. Okay. I do not think I will ever make that assertion, precisely because any assertion which I am prepared to make about God would not be about a God in that sense. I think we need here a fundamental distinction between the God of Aristotle or Spinoza and the God of Christian and Islamic religion. So it seems to me, given this, he wrong again. Yeah. So he's let's see. Let's see. And so I just wanted to add that little comment to this little video as well on the official video. So that somebody hopefully will see the correction there that actually no. So no. Flew is not a deist. Yeah, wrong again. Anyways, all right.
Is believing in God like believing in the flying spaghetti monster?
No, because the flying spaghetti monster, as well documented in the Lobsteress, actually exists. We have absolute proof of the flying spaghetti monster. Now, the flying spaghetti monster did exist, but it got eaten by the lobster original deity. The flying spaghetti monster was foolish. It created a creature that was greater than itself that wound up eating it. You know, hey, these things happen. So the flying spaghetti monster used to exist, doesn't anymore, it's dead now, was eaten by Laud, the lobster original deity. Outlined in the Lobsteress eyewitness account, and in the latest Lobsteress, it even says that it's true. So we can't possibly doubt that. So yes, no, there is a difference because believing in God doesn't have the sort of evidence that we have for the flying spaghetti monster that appears in the Laud, the Lobsteress tales. Tales, get it? But yeah, so no, it's not. I would say no, it's not. There's more evidence for the flying spaghetti monster in the Lobsteress, so you got to read that.
When I hear skeptics online mock or poke fun at believers, Christians, or any kind of theist, you'll often hear them say that believing in God is like believing in the flying spaghetti monster. This flying spaghetti monster as a notion has been offered as kind of a substitute for God. And it was first really created by a guy named Bobby Henderson in 2005. He also created a kind of a larger view called Pastafarianism. And really this was created by Bobby in response to the Kansas school district where he saw that intelligent design, a notion of creation that comes from the mind of a designer to explain the features of the cosmos, the features of biology.
Right.
He saw that emerging in his local school district, and he just
and he saw that, and he saw that was a bad thing, and pointed out, well, might as well leave in the flying spaghetti monster. And hey, what was that about intelligent design losing in court again? Remember that happened there? You really want to, remember that happened? Remember that happened? Just saying, intelligent design lost in design loses in court, lost in court. So it's just saying in court, I'm trying to type as judge rules against federal design. Let's see. So just saying.
Decided to offer this alternative and to claim that believing in God is as ridiculous as believing in the flying spaghetti monster. But let's be clear about one thing. Bobby does not believe in the flying spaghetti monster.
How do you know that? Could be. Could be. Dover Area School Board. Let's see. Let's see. Let's just copy that whole thing and post a thing.
Any more than he believes in God. This was really just a notion that was invented to kind of make the distinction, to make a case against God.
Yeah, and it worked. What's your point?
And although he's applied in a number of countries for Pastafarianism as a recognized national religion, he's been denied everywhere he applied. Why?
Well, I think, let's see. Social movement promotes a lighthearted view of religion, opposes the teaching of intelligent design and creation of public schools. According to adherents, Pastafarianism is a real legitimate religion as much as any other. But is it? Let's see. The Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. Okay, let's see. Okay, well, let's see. Let's see if he's right about this stuff, because he's been wrong about everything else. I just want to see if he gets anything right. Rejoice! You found the way! Huzzah! Oh, I love this website. I'm going to join and tell them that they're wrong. But yeah, now look, see, look. Oh, okay. They got the little strainer on their head. They get to do that because they're Pastafarians, you know. So it's a church, many thousands of members. Let's see, every Friday is a religious holiday, no dues. Beer, volcano in the afterlife, pirate regalia at formal functions. Oh, that's great. Come on, they gotta have like a fact, like, oh man, oh man, is this legit? Oh, $59, I can become a minister. Oh, damn, I kind of want to do that. It's a lot of money though. You can become a lobsterist for free. So it's a copyright. 2003 of the Church of Flying Spaghetti Monster. So I mean, come on though. Are they legitimate? Official? I mean, about? Come on, they can't be. They can't be legitimate. Is it really a religion? Religion. Let's see. Um, let's see. It's widely considered a religion, even by its opponents. Oh, it's considered a legitimate religion, but is it? Is it a legitimate religion? Is it? That's the question I want answered. But you know what? You know what? It's beyond the scope of this video. It's beyond the scope of this video to find out whether or not the Church of Flying Spaghetti Monster is or is not a religion. But if it is, he's wrong about that.
Why would that be the case? Well, in large part because people understand and governments understand and nations understand the difference between religious claims and fictional claims. We have good evidence.
Wait, what? No. Oh, well, wait. Hold on. I just gotta process what he just said there. Also, I found this. So, it's not legally represented in the U.S., but it's officially recognized religion in 3 countries. Poland, it's officially registered, thanks to legal technicality, still, whatever. New Zealand, the first legally binding wedding, Pastafarian wedding, officiated by Minestrone, Karen Minestrone. And they're wed in pirate garb, of course. Let's see. Of course, in Shizak and Lubbock, Texas, Pastafarians have been allowed to wear their traditional headdress. That word, the strainer thing, and ID state photos. Will its religious status be debated by the Supreme Court? We don't know, but yeah. So it seems like it's being recognized as a legitimate religion in some places, meaning you're wrong. But what was it you said? I just gotta go back again and play what you said, because I know it was wrong.
He's been denied everywhere he applied. Why? Why would that be the case? Well, in large part because people understand and governments understand and nations understand the difference between religious claims and fictional claims.
The difference between religious claims and fictional claims is why Pastafarianism was denied status as a religion. All right, let's see. Let's see. So that was Dutch, USA. Let's try to find something. Okay, here we go. Federal court rules. Let's check this out. See how right he got it or how wrong he got it, more than likely. Man, this is taking me so long because I have to look up all the things he said and show that they're wrong, isn't it? All right, so get out of my face. Let's see. Okay, so it's not a real religion. He decided that it's satire. And so, that was in Nebraska. April decision asserted that no one seriously believed the church was real. To believe such a thing, the court ruled the person would have to fail in basic reading comprehension. See, I think they should challenge this. It doesn't sound like a good ruling to me. The court weighed on this matter after Stephen Call, a Nebraska prisoner, was claimed to be Pastafarian, sued to get access to the group's literature and wear its traditional haircare while incarcerated. Pastafarians sometimes wear colanders on their heads. He also requested the right to dress like a pirate, an outfit commonly worn by church supporters. It's not a question of theology, they read. The SSM gospel is plainly a work of satire, but who cares if it's satire or not? Why can't satire be a religion? Meant to entertain will make you a pointed political statement. To read it as religious doctrine would be a little different from grounding religious exercise on any other work or fiction. Oh, but that's what it is. Come on, people, let's admit it. So it sounds like this guy was biased. He's biased against the SSM. He doesn't want it to be true because he wants to sin. Some claim the church is purely a thought experiment of satire. These people are mistaken. The church is legit, backed by hard science. Anything that comes across as humor satire is purely coincidental. See, they've got good. They should go after this judge. They should fight this case to the very bitter end. But that's it. That's all I got. So it seems like he is slightly kind of ish right, but also wrong because it has been accepted as religion in other places. So, anyways,
we have good evidence to demonstrate that Christianity is true from both the direct evidence.
No, you don't have any evidence, even a little bit.
Witness accounts and the indirect evidence of features of the universe that demonstrate that God exists. It's not as though we're just picking a notion out of thin air.
No, actually, that's it kind of is what it is. I mean, you're not picking the notion out of thin air because it's already been made and created and written down, and there's been hundreds and hundreds of years of theologians arguing for this thing and refining different arguments, none of which you use, by the way. You don't even attempt to use the classical arguments, which have one or more logical fallacies, but you don't even use those. You're going all over the place. You don't even have a single syllogism. You don't have anything. This is nothing. This is a big old pile of nothing that you've been wrong about everything so far.
And describing it in such a way that we want everyone to believe. But no way, actually, this is the great thing about Christianity. Christianity is not just a claim, an unattached claim, a set of proposals about God. No, Christianity is a claim about a historical event that can be tested. The way.
How can you test the historical event? How? In what way can we test the historical event?
The other historical events can be tested. Look, I will tell you that there are certain kind of fortune cookie type of religious claims.
Wait. How do we test it? No, how do we test it? Maybe
a set of just proverbs that people will look at and say, these are the beautiful teachings of Buddha or Baha'u'llah. But these do not describe an event that's rooted in history, like the resurrection.
Which is not rooted in history. That's rooted in mythology. But you believe it's history. That's the difference. That's the only difference between those two things. Is you think those things are myth, and you think you've got the fact, but you don't. You have mythology.
That is the claim of Christianity. It makes Christianity very different than any other kind of religious claim. It's not as though people thought up, well, let's just think of a crazy character like the flying spaghetti monster. No, it's that something happened in the course of history that people observed and wrote about. And we have that direct evidence claim.
And that's what you have in Mormonism as well, a direct evidential thing that happened to a person that saw the golden plates in a cave. He wrote down what the golden plates were, told others about the event, and they believed him. And there you go. So that's a true event as well. But even better, we have the ultimate and real testimony, you know what I'm going to say next, of the lobsteress. That's right, the lobsteress, baby. It says it's historical in there somewhere, I'm sure. If not, it might appear in later writings of the lobsteress as historical. Just, but it totally is. Yeah.
Could review thousands of years later. That is very different. Can you see the difference between fictional notions that are not rooted in history?
Yeah, fictional notions like your ideas that are mythological. Got it.
And claims for which we have an historical record.
Now, in this case, there is no difference because you're talking about mythology.
If we can't see that distinction, it's going to be hard to advance any conversation about the nature of God or Christianity.
Yeah, I know. It is pretty hard to advance the conversation when you have to admit the truth, unless you're willing to say that it's a faith and not a fact. But you're not willing to say that. So, I don't know what to say about that, but,
The claims related to the flying spaghetti monster are by their very nature very different than the claims related to Christianity.
Yeah, but that doesn't make them wrong. But you know what does make them wrong is that they're not covered by the lobsteress, damn it. Is that it? We're done? Yeah, that's it. We're done. Is there going to be an ad or something at the end? No, okay, that's it. Yeah. Wow. Jeez. What a tripe. What just a bunch. Just, the guy's insisting he's not one that believes in fictional stories. Yeah, I know. It's amazing that his religion isn't fictional. All the other religions, yeah, they got it wrong. But I got it right. Yay! How lucky. Huzzah! All the other ones, though, I think it's a very shallow view of God. I really do. I think that if one believes in God, okay, I can understand that. Because God is an interesting idea. It's like, but I think it's far beyond the idea that many Christians have. I think that it is so bigger than what they make because their religion they say that their religion doesn't try to put God in a box, but it absolutely does. Every religion tries to put God in a box. But if there was a thing that made everything, then that thing would be like way bigger than anybody could say very much about. Other than the only thing we could say about it is, man, it's freaking big. And maybe we couldn't even say that for sure. Maybe it just looks big. I don't know. But this is a very shallow view of God. If you believe in God, you should reject this guy as a Christian because he didn't quote any Bible verse, by the way, to support any of his ideas. So that makes him a false prophet. Then he doesn't have any empirical evidence at all. He doesn't have any repeatable tests. He said that there was something that we could do, but he didn't say what that was. And as I demonstrated in this video, everything he said about the law is untrue. Everything that he said about evidence is untrue. He only got one thing kind of right in that the U.S. government hasn't recognized the flying spaghetti monster as a legitimate religion yet, but I think you can get it fought for in many states, and people have, where they get their driver's license with the bowl on their head and claim to be a Pastafarian so they can have that on their license just because they want to, in the state just like, we don't want to fight this, fine, whatever. So they're tentatively granting its religion. I don't know that lobsterism wants to make that sort of step yet. I don't know. But maybe one day when someone's license expires, he might get it in his head that it might be fun to go to the DMV and try to get a license with a lobster on his head and see what happens. If and when that happens, I'll let you know what happens. Well, anyways, guys, girls, robots, etc. That's it for today. That's it for this video at any rate. Maybe it's not it for today. Maybe I'll do another video. Probably not. But that's all for now. Whatever. Yeah. Yeah, there's going to be a mistrial. Yeah, right, exactly. Um, yeah. Yeah, it's all true. Um, yeah. Anyways, I would love for him to explain how. Why didn't he explain how to test history? I don't know. Anyways, leave your thoughts in the comments of this live stream thing, and about this, anything I've said, anything you agree with, disagree with. If there was a link I should have had, you can't post the link. I don't even know if you can post the word link. I've had YouTube delete my comments when I said I had a video response. I don't know what the hell is going on anymore with YouTube. It's all like sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I lost like 4 subs because I had a reaction video that wasn't really a reaction video, but maybe that's just people, doing things, and it's just a coincidence that I lost 4 subs when that video came out. I don't know what's going on anymore. I'm in full panic mode. Sub to my channel. Love my stuff. Please give me attention. I don't want to die. Thanks for watching. The Lobsterist. Lobsterist. Is that what? Read the Lobsterist. It's historical.